Welcome, everybody. My name is Elena Hernandez. I am from Colton Redlands Yucaipa ROP. I'll have my colleagues introduce themselves in a second. I want to do a couple of little housekeeping items first. So the first session ends at 10:35. So you are here with us until 10:35 is the instructions that I've been given. That they do not want people just bolting at 10:15 to get to wherever they need to get to next. I need to hold you here until 10:35. I promise you we will make it worth your time here. And then at the end we've got some really cool giveaways that include Starbucks cards. So you need to stay for that. Yes, that's the whole reason to be here, is your chance to win. So anyways, welcome to CTE in Action. And we are here to talk about resources that will help you as a future educator if you're thinking about going into education, or if you are currently an educator, things that can help support you in your classroom, in your induction programs, things like that. So a lot of tips and tools and strategies that we're going to be delivering today. You can follow along. I know we're not using the computers, but we have a bit.ly here which will give you access to the presentation if you want to write that down or take a picture of the slide. That is great. We are also going to ask you to scan to win. If you scan the QR code, we can bring that back up towards the end of the presentation for you to scan, but that's how you're going to win today, is if you scan the QR code. All right, so who are my educators in the room? Yay for educators. Who are my aspiring educators in the room? All right, very, very nice. Anybody else? Administrators? Yay! Combination of all of us. So I will start off by saying that all three of us are educators. I spent 18 years in the high school classroom. I came out of the classroom about 5 years ago to take a mentor training position, or a mentor teacher position, and then have moved on, and my colleague Deidre Puentes has taken over for me. And then we've got, introduce yourself.
My name's Christopher McClung. Nice to meet you.
But we're all, I spent 18 years, you spent 10 years, and you spent 5 years in the classroom. So those two girls that left, I was going to tell them that even if you don't think that you're going to be a high school, or a teacher in the classroom, there are so many other things that you can do in regards to education. Does it help to have the classroom experience? Absolutely, but we have all transitioned. We're still in education, but we do other things in support of education and great teachers. So anyways, with that, can I have everybody stand up? Just stand up. Okay, I just want you to put your hands in the air. You don't have to do anything fancy. I'm not going to make you do, Simon Says or anything. Or just kind of put your hands up in the air. Okay, put them down. All right, now the second time, I want you to put your hands up there, but I want you to reach as high as you possibly can. Get on top of your tippy toes. Stretch, 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 stretch. Bring them down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what educators do. We continuously reach higher and higher in pursuit of great education for students and everybody else. So thank you. Just get you a way to get you up. So with that, I think I'm turning it over to my colleague, Deidre.
Okay, so today our presentation is about preparing the next generation of teachers for college and career readiness. Hopefully, since a majority of you are in high school, you've heard that phrase, college and career readiness. How many of you have heard that phrase? 3, 4, okay. Well, it seems it's a big initiative in the high schools, and that's why they've been implementing all these different career pathways for students to enroll in. And for this presentation is particularly for education. Can you go to the next slide?
Sorry, I'm clicking.
The first beginning part of our presentation is more about what the current education system looks like. And if you see the slide, there's not much on there except for this pie chart. But in my mind, it's kind of like we take all of these people from all different backgrounds, socioeconomic groups, ethnicities, everything, and we try to put them into these nice, neat little pies and tell them what they're going to be good at or what they're not going to be good at. It doesn't open their eyes to all the educational opportunities that are out there for them. Okay, so if we take a little closer look at the design, you can see that over here we have college ready. That's where the classes focus on academics, AP, A through G, honors, dual enrollment credits, and academic skills are the focus in AVID courses. Well, on the other hand, you have your career ready or your CTE courses that are industry specific, where you can have field trips, guest speakers, internships, shop classes. They focus more on the skills that are going to be used in the actual workplace setting. Okay, so this slide is our misconceptions about how this educational system that places students into certain paths is driven. So underperforming students should take CTE courses. Like some people think, well, students who aren't really good at calculus, they're not going to take that class. Let's just put them over here in graphic design. Or let's put them in computer programming, which probably takes some math. Well-performing students don't need CTE classes because they're going to go to college. They're going to get all their A through Gs. They're going to go right into a 4-year, so they don't need all those extra elective credits. Let's just keep them on this path to make sure they can get into college. CTE courses are not rigorous. Okay? For most of the CTE courses, at least in the state of California, they have been aligned to the Common Core state standards, right, and to the CTE curriculum standards. So they are rigorous, and they do support academic courses. In your CTE courses, you are going to write, you're going to do speaking, you're going to do math. Okay, so we don't necessarily always teach those topics to mastery. However, we support the academic courses that you're currently taking. Academic courses lack real-world relevance. I don't personally believe that. I just don't think that many students see the connection between doing all that math and getting a job and getting paid. However, you need the math so that you can make sure that they're paying you what they said they were going to pay you. So if you're not good at math, at least learn how to calculate your paychecks. And CTE teachers aren't real teachers. That is also a misconception. Most at this time, at present time, come from industry. So if let's say you don't want to be an educator, but you graduate high school and you go right into the restaurant industry or into hotels, hospitality, and you're there for 10 years. And then you're like, well, I have a family. This is getting kind of old. I work weekends. I work till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And you see an advertisement that says seeking industry professionals in the hospitality to teach classes. Okay? Well, that is your opportunity to take everything that you've learned in industry and take it into the classroom and to teach other students your industry. Okay? And that's how a lot of CTE teachers are born. They don't necessarily go to college first, they work first. I spent 14 years in retail before I ever stepped into a classroom. How long were you in business before you?
Oh my gosh, I don't know, 10, 15 years. I was in the banking industry, did some retail, and then came out to teach. So
it's not always a direct route. So even if you decide not to do education now, if you go into other industries, just keep in the back of your mind, CTE teachers can come from industry and go into teaching. Okay? And lastly, all of these things lead to creating a culture of students can only do one or the other. They can't do both. But what we really want for career and college readiness is for students to be able to do both. So this is our reality of public education. This is all of us. And we need to find a way to differentiate instruction, to offer enough variety for students to gain the skills that they need to be successful in both areas, work and school. We don't want it to be just one or the other. And who can say this better than Mr. Mike Rowe? I hope everybody knows who that is.
I'd say, if you're flipping a coin, do you think heads is more important than tails? If you're looking at a workforce, do you think white collar is really more important than blue collar? It's balance. It has to be a balance. But it seems to me that what's happened in general is we've promoted one form of education at the expense of all the others. And this happens politically a lot, because to get elected, you need to say things that will appeal to large groups of people, not individuals. You have to speak to large groups. So we've been saying to large groups for a long time, a 4-year degree is the best path for the most people. And who's been saying that? Teachers, guidance counselors, parents, a lot of well-intended people have said in a very global way that this path is the best for you. So what that means is that a college degree is no longer a college degree. A college degree is higher education. The kind of programs and training you're talking about, what do we call that? We don't call it lower education because that would just be crazy. We call it alternative education, which is pretty close, right? This over here is what you want. But if you're not really cut out for it, maybe you'd like to learn a skill. That's what's happened in education, in my opinion. We've clearly elevated one at the expense of apprenticeship programs and CTE training and a long, long list of other opportunities that, in fact, are far, far better designed for many millions of individuals. But because we're not talking to the individual gets lost. And that's when things really go off the rails, because this path over here got expensive, right? It got more expensive over the last 30 years than healthcare, than real estate, than food, than energy. Never before in the history of the world has anything so important in education become so exponentially expensive. Now, what do we do next? We made unlimited money available for kids to borrow in order to go in this direction. So this is the direction you want to go in, but if you can't afford it, here's some money. When people say, how in the world did college get so expensive? I think that has something to do with the answer. We told you it was the only sure path to success, and then we made unlimited money available for you to borrow. So, is it any wonder the colleges, they'll charge whatever they can. They're in a business, they have to. They'll also build a stadium to make it look better and a brand new student union. All that cost goes into the money that you have to borrow. So, $500 billion, $750 billion, then $1 trillion. Now $1.3 trillion in student loans. We've borrowed, heck with borrowing, we've lent money we don't have to kids who are going to really have a hard time paying it back to train them in many cases for jobs that don't exist anymore. Again, a very long answer to your question, which is, what do I say to people who discourage funding for jobs that actually exist? I say you're crazy.
No? How many of you plan to go to college right out of high school, for those of you who are in high school? You're going to go to community college, or you're going to go to a state university? Community college? Community college is the best deal going. I finished it, and I didn't owe anything. And I'm an adult who works. I have 4 people in my family, but I wouldn't have been able to afford to move into the university if I hadn't done community college, if I had paid for university for 2 years already. So that's just my opinion. So the well-rounded design, or what Mike Rowe called as balanced, is essential. Oops, I went too far. Sorry. Go back. Is that we need to have our students be college and career ready. We need them to be ready for both when they get out of school, high school, so that maybe they can get a job and work and pay for their education as they go along. Instead of just saying, I'm just going to get financial aid and I'll pay it off when I'm done. We've seen how that's worked out for a lot of people. It's not always that easy. But we need to make sure that we combine these. Coursework that is integrated to include both academic and technical skills, not just one or the other. A combination of academic and CTE courses to meet graduation requirements. They should be required so that students have some skills in industry and academically. And it should be able to include A through G, AP, field trips, guest speakers, college credits, integration of AVID strategies into both CTE courses and academic courses, shop classes and hands-on activities, as well as problem-based learning and internships. These are a combination of all these makes for not only a well-rounded educational system, but a well-rounded student, so that no matter what they choose to do when they get out of high school, they have options and they're better prepared. Some of the ways that we can help change the next generation of education is to increase educator collaboration. More collaboration between an academic teacher and a CTE teacher will increase the rigorousness of the CTE course, as well as increase how the academic course relates to industry. A lot of students are like, why do I have to write all those reports? It's not like I'm going to be a mechanic. I'm going to work on cars. Well, you have to write out the papers. You have to write out the bill of sale, what you're going to do on the car. You have to be able to research it to find out what parts you need. You're going to have to read. You're going to have to write. You're going to have to do some math. So if we can get teachers to collaborate and bring both of those together, it will help our students have a stronger connection. Keep students the focus of their teaching, allow students to identify things that they want to learn and explore different career fields, maintain mutual respect among all educators. Don't just assume one educator is better than another. They're always better if they work together. And continuous improvement through reflective instructional practice. How many of you ever get done with a unit in class and they're like, oh, okay, get out your journal and reflect? Who can tell me what the purpose of reflecting is?
To make sure you learn something.
Okay, you learn something, but what else? Huh? It helps you make sure you can understand it. Well, in education, if you reflect on your teaching practice, like you teach a day, and then you sit down and you're like, that didn't work. It worked for this period, not this period. Oh, won't do that again. I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should say it this way. You look at it, and it helps you develop a plan for next time. How are you going to improve your practice? So if you reflect on a unit of study, and you write down, I learned this, this, and this, and this, you can always go back to it and say, well, these are the things I learned. What can I do with it? How does this relate to the next thing I'm going to learn? Is there anything that I didn't understand very well? And do I need to know it to make it to the next level? So reflection is important, whether you're in the high school classroom or whether you're an educator. Oh, I know I'm talking fast. Sorry. Okay, so as educators, do you just want your students to be successful in getting really good grades? No, right? What's the bottom line? Where do all our students go? Well, high school students maybe go to college, yes. But eventually, what does everybody need? A job. Everybody's going to need a job. Now, do we all want to work at McDonald's? No. However, if you own a franchise at McDonald's, you can make pretty good money. So there's opportunity in a lot of careers that you might not consider. As far as teachers, the number one goal is to make sure the students are ready for success or capable of it in and out of the classroom. Not just, I know my students are going to do really well when they get to the university. We really want them to be contributing participants in society, right? We want them to give back, not just go on and make good grades at the university. So you need to, maybe if you're ready for a job when you get out of high school, you can work that job. I put many students in internships at little retail shops. The lessons they learned were invaluable. For one, they would decide that they never want to do retail again. Or they would decide, but that's important. What if you went to school and studied marketing for 4 years and paid $50,000? Now you have this marketing degree that you don't want to use because you can't stand to work with the public. So now you have $50,000 worth of debt, and then you have to sit and think about it. Like, okay, where am I going to go from here? So if in high school you get to explore other careers, that really can clarify your goals before you go and spend a bunch of money on something that may not be the direction you wanted to go. If you would like to learn, we're going to talk about how to get free resources to help educators or even help you as aspiring educators create a more rounded or well-rounded classroom environment or school environment, I guess.
Right.
Let me stay here and click.
Yeah. So that is where I come in and what CTE Teach is all about. We are going to provide you some resources today that are free to you. Go ahead. So we have this big red apple. We are called CTE Teach, and we are a partnership with the California Department of Education. And the Department of Education has provided our district, Colton, Redlands, and Yucaipa, some funds, some grant money to go out and to train other districts how to induct their first and second year teachers. So we have lots of resources that we're going to share to you that are available to all of you guys. You don't have to pay us money, and you don't have to belong to a certain group. Our stuff is completely free.
You do have to click the join group.
We'll show them that. We'll have to show them. But I don't need, we don't need anything like that. So all our stuff is free. But yes, we work with about 16 districts across the state of California in helping them to prepare their first and second year teachers. What we have found, though, is that it's not just the first and second year teachers that need our support. It's our veteran teachers, believe it or not, that need just as much support because they tend to get stuck in their silos. So we have come up with some resources.
How many of you know what a silo is?
It's a silo.
Anybody know what a silo is?
What is it?
Is it on the farm, the big tower, suddenly?
Yes. So often we refer to teachers who are kind of like stuck in their silo, like, I've been doing this for 20 years and it's been working. But you know.
And they just keep doing it the same way, hunkering down. This is my, yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that because I wasn't sure if everybody understood that relationship.
So some of these resources, where are we at? Okay, so what is CTE Teach? We're a teacher training and professional development that is made available. Our acronym is CRIROP, and the California Department of Education, and then our Senate Bill 1070. I know that these are a bunch of acronyms when it comes to career technical education. But we have some key components. We offer an online early orientation program for new teachers. We offer professional development modules, which are online, which we're going to show you today. And then our teachers who work for our 3 districts participate in a 2-year induction program, also known as TIP, and that's run by Deidre. So we require that all of our brand new high school teachers spend 2 years really, really embedded into what it is like to be a new teacher and how do you be successful. All right. So with that, we do have some delivery systems, and you guys can follow along. You can reach us at cteonline.org, and some of you, if I have teachers in the room, might know CTE Online. If not, we're going to show that to you today. We offer online training, so everything that we do is recorded by Mr. McClung here. All of our webinars, we offer webinars on lots of different things. We do lots of presentations across the state, and those are recorded, and those are available to you. We do on-site training, so if you want us, we'll come. And we say that with a caveat because let me tell you, people call us up and say, can you come up and do this? And these 2 just got back a couple years ago. We did a big training called Teach Like a Pirate based on the book by Dave Burgess, Teach Like a Pirate. And that sucker went viral. And now we're getting requests all over the state. Can you come up and do pirate? Can you come up and do pirate? And so they just I've passed the pirate hat on to them, but they just got back from Fresno, and we trained how many teachers did you train?
Oh, in the breakout, it was probably about 150 because there were 2 sessions.
Yeah. So we have stuff. And we have some funds, and we'll go if you want us to come.
Is there a charge? Is there a charge for that? Is there a...
We
take a pumpkin spice frappuccino.
And I do not wear the hat.
Yeah. Technically, no, because this is a grant that we get, and so no, we don't charge our districts we don't charge them for anything. So, and if you belong to our...
You have to have an MOU?
Well, our mentor teachers, our mentor project, they have an MOU, and we actually provide them funds to train their teachers. But on the slide...
comes out in July of next year.
That way, yeah. Well, we can give them some information about that. But if you call us and you say, I've got this teacher in service coming up, can you come down and talk about teaching strategies? Most likely we're able to do that. So we have 4 cornerstones of CTE Teach, obviously to increase teacher retention. We have a teacher shortage right now. If we don't have great teachers in the classroom, you students cannot possibly be successful. We want to improve and provide teacher training. We want greater teacher effectiveness, and that all results in promoting student learning. So we work with those 4 cornerstones. This is where the magic happens, or where I should say the magic lies. On CTE Online, all of our content lives here. So we work with CTE Online, and we provide all of our stuff. If you don't know about CTE Online, it's a one-stop shop for teachers, all teachers. You don't have to be a brand new teacher, but you can get curriculum and projects and lesson plans and resources. And
aspiring teachers, it's public, they could also join. It doesn't, even if you're in high school, you could still join.
Right. You just have to create an account. It's free. They'll just collect your email address, but they're not going to ask you for any money or anything like that. We do have this red apple where it says CTE Teach. Can you, we're going to have to sign in probably, or what's the next slide?
I don't know.
Okay, well, let me talk about this first.
You want me to open it?
Maybe in a minute. So we have some professional development modules available to anybody. Here are some of the topics available: engaging and supporting all students in learning, understanding and organizing subject matter, assessing student learning, instructional technology, work-based learning, middle school learners. Who would have thought that the middle school kids need to eventually get to high school, and what should we know about them? So we developed this module on middle school learners. We have adult learners / community college, because a lot of our students are going into the community college, or we've got adult learners. Teaching CTE online for anybody who is interested in, who is a online teacher for a university, or who is interested, if districts are interested in learning how to put their content online. Our particular district offers courses online for our students, and I manage that for our particular districts. And then rigor and relevance in the classroom. We have been hearing that, yes, our classes need more rigor, so we developed a module on how do we train teachers to provide more rigor in their lesson plans. So all these are available to you guys. Jump in.
So I kind of have an idea. So for those of you who are in an education pathway, like careers in education per se, when you finish, like if you would sign in and create the account, join the CTE Teach group, you can go in there and complete modules. And then you can get a certificate at the end, right?
Yeah, that's great.
So, and they're free. I mean, I just think it would be nice, like I know I have one teacher here, maybe if you go back and talk to your teacher, you can say, well, I can get these certificates if I complete these. However, I don't know about the security and all the, you know how students aren't supposed to create accounts unless everything's been approved. But anyway, if you want some certificates, if you think you're going to go get a job in preschool, elementary school, even if it's as a teacher's aide, these might be beneficial to you to have. Do you want me to go to the website, or do you want me to look at the next slide?
And we can go to the website.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, so why don't we go to the website? You going to sign in? You're going to have to.
I made a fake account the other day.
You made a fake account?
Because it always takes me to those lists, and I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
So while she's doing that, I
Sure.
have a question.
Absolutely.
So I teach CTE.
Okay.
Unfortunately, not in what I want to teach it in.
So
but I
what do you teach?
Well, mostly I do child development, but my credentials is also in computers, but I don't like it anymore.
Okay.
I don't know, it just moves too fast.
All right.
But, so my question is, what I'm finding, first of all, let me back up, because you were talking about the whole premise of the CTE, and I guess I have a daughter who, I guess because I teach it, she sees school different.
Correct.
And she went to the state capitol through her youth and government, and her proposal was to put CTE into make it more available for kids, because she looked at homelessness versus if they had a CTE or some type of career technical,
Right.
like, would they be homeless? They're not going to go to a 4-year. They don't complete. Anyway,
Right.
it was, so for you to say that, like, some kids do see the benefit of it, maybe not all, but I noticed that they don't push it in the high schools like they used to. Why is that? That's question one.
Okay.
What is happening with
well, I think as far as accountability goes, the goal was to increase the number of students who completed A through G requirements, who were ready to go to university. That was the number one goal, and I think the state or the federal government may have used that as part of their funding calculations or whatever. Like, that's how they determined if, other than the AYP or whatever index, determined if a school was being successful.
Okay.
So if that's what the government wants, and that's where the money comes from, that's what the schools are going to focus on. Does that make sense? So, but now the tides are shifting again, which has happened many times over many years, and now they're bringing it back to CTE. My hope is just that they get the academic teachers and the CTE teachers to collaborate more, to develop like the project-based or problem-based learning, where they not only take those academic standards and they take the CTE standards, and the students have both.
So for me, I came in when it was ROP.
Yeah.
Now it's CTE. What's the difference? It's the same, right?
Nationally, we're known as CTE. ROP, it was California's version of their vocational ed model. And that's how that was developed. So their regional occupational program. I'm from Ohio. We had a vocational school where the students in 10th grade had to decide, do you want to stay here and get ready for college, or do you want to go out there? I didn't go out there because I was scared. Because I thought, what the heck? Like, it kind of made you feel like, oh, you got to be separated. So they would bus the students every day, their junior and senior year, to go get their CTE or their voc ed taken care of. But ROP, there's no difference between ROP and CTE. It's just the title of the delivery model in the state of California.
We're still called ROP, so we're called Redlands Ukaipa,
ROP.
but we're CTE.
So are you saying that they're doing the same thing that they're doing here here they seem to be this is the issue that I'm seeing. They take the CTE courses, but the regular academic school teachers are teaching it. Like
that happens from, okay, so yes and no. So we have, and this, I've got like 10 minutes, so yes and no. We'll talk. But what I was going to say in support of CTE and is that, in the state of California, the local control accountability plan, every single California high school has to have CTE. Has to have, it's law, a CTE component in their high school. They get funds for that. They have to.
It does. But if they don't have an ROP that services that school, then they would have to develop their own. But the way the funding shifted, it has kind of switched it up.
Let's chat after, because I know where you're going, and I think I can help you with that. Because yes, do we have district teachers who have single and multiple subject credentials wanting to, or teaching CTE classes wanting to obtain their CTE credential? Yes. And then you've got us who all have degrees and masters, and we also hold a CTE credential. So I know where you're going. Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
Example of like a CTE class.
So your child development courses, your auto shop courses, your construction technology classes, your culinary arts classes,
Fashion merchandising,
Fa-
digital, and media, graphic design,
law enforcement, graphic design,
print shop.
veterinary.
Are you in high school? If you're in high school, they call them pathways.
Oh, shoot. We should have started with pathways. Yeah. So who's in a pathway here? Students. Shout out your pathways. Intro to teaching. Child development. Pharmacy. Principles of education. Sports med. Those are all considered CTE classes. I get it. I love having students in the room because I'm learning so much.
With the pathways, basically what they've done is they've determined you need these academic courses, and these are you have to take a minimum of 2 years of a CTE course that are sequential. So you take the intro and you take the capstone, okay? At least 2. It could be 3. And they embed it with academic teachers. So you may have a set group of English teachers. And hopefully they're working with the CTE teachers to develop projects and assignments that are very well aligned to each other. So if you're in an English class and you're in a pharmacy pathway, I would think that those English teachers that are working with that pathway would develop reports that would relate to the medical field. Does that make sense? So when you're writing your essays, it would be, you would get to use that medical terminology that you wouldn't get to use in a general academic English class. Does that make sense?
And we're moving on.
Sorry.
We're running out of time because they want their raffle.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do the raffle.
Yeah, okay. So we'll quickly show you what's available on CT Online. This is your front page. You would need to click the red apple.
Click the red apple.
Click the red apple.
I'm already in the group, but this is where you click join group.
It would say join group, and if you bring up, you might have to go back to the slides or.
Oh, because when you click join group, this is what you would see.
Right. So we have lots of things available. We have some mentor group resources. So if you are a teacher who is mentoring other teachers, we have our mentor group that you could join. And those, you can see our workshops, our webinars, training resources, and any documents. Everything lives here. You can find our modules for professional development that I just went over when I said middle school learners and community college and rigor in the classroom. Those live there. We also have modules that are built just for teachers who are mentors and how to strengthen those skills. We also are connected to the Commission on Teaching Credentialing for teachers who are getting their CTE credentials. They go through our early orientation program, which lives here, which they have to do in order to get their CTE credential. So that is all available on the CTE Online page. What is after this?
Once you join the
Once you
Apple group.
Once you join the Apple group, yeah. This is kind of what the mentor training modules look like. There's videos embedded in here. So, your first day, what should your first day of class look like? That's really good for any of you in the education pathways if you wanted to see that or you needed to write a report or something. Qualities and characteristics, new teacher orientation, how do you lesson plan, how do you figure or configure your whiteboard? I mean, students, think about the whiteboards or the boards that you have in your classroom right now. How are they set up? Is there an objective? Is there the teacher's name? Is there the date? So that's kind of cool. Professional development, how do we do teacher observations and classroom walkthroughs, things like that. And all of our modules contain a certificate. So if you work through the modules, you can earn a certificate. Okay. So other ways to use CTE Teach for my admin out there to provide and suggest PD. A lot of our districts pull our stuff off and go, yes, that's a great classroom management workshop you guys did. I'm going to steal it and share it with my teachers. That's fine. Workshop creation, webinar topics, self-paced professional development for teachers. If you have a teacher struggling in an area, whether that be classroom management, lesson planning, you can assign them the modules here and ask them to present you the certificate. And then our post-secondary teachers as well is why we are here. We came down last year and presented to LA Teach because we figured that the community college, or they asked us, we don't have a lot of induction on our community college level, so can you support us? And we said, yes, absolutely. Okay. New this year. Ha ha ha. That's where you come in.
Mm-hmm. Chris, we have 4 minutes, and we still need to do the wrap-up.
Oh, heck.
This is our media stuff. And so basically, it was something we started new this year. You can follow us on Twitter at CTE_Teach. If you go to YouTube, look up CTE Teach. All the stuff that we're doing, so like what we're doing today, will be up there for people to see. And then we're doing podcasts as well. We're on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Spotify for now. I'm still working on the Apple one. But essentially, we go around and we do, we'll record trainings that we do with our teachers, talking about how they do their teaching. We're going to start doing podcasts of teachers working with people. So like an auto teacher, I'll have to where an auto teacher will talk to guys who are actually working in that auto industry and talking about what they're doing and, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's it.
The pirate training is already up on
Right.
YouTube. I highly, highly recommend that one. But then the podcast, every time that we bring our brand new teachers in and we provide a workshop for them, Deidre will sit down and ask what we call a parking lot. She'll answer the parking lot questions, and we record it, and we put it up there because we figure there's somebody else who is struggling with that same issue. So it's really, really cool, the stuff that we have put up there. All right, thank you, you guys. Have a great day. Oh.
And make sure you fill out your evaluation form, your survey for each workshop. Your door prizes.